Hi, everyone. Yay!
Thank you.
I'm so excited to be here with you. And I know what you're all thinking and asking, and I'll tell you right now, no, we did not call each other. We did not plan it.
No, we did not.
But we're clearly somehow sisters in the universe.
That's right. It's evident.
Yes. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
We are delighted to have you. I'm Jane Schwartzberg. I run the strategic client segments. I am just so happy to be here. And we're going to dig in. But what I would like in front of everyone is to know if you'd come home with me afterward to help raise our children, because you've clearly done such a magnificent job, and we could use the help, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I understand.
So okay,
Of
so
course,
I might be scooting home with you.
Okay, I can do that.
Taking you in my bag. Anyway, let's get to you. Incredible story. Watching the video, hearing about you, reading about you as a mother, just is beyond inspirational.
Thank you.
So let's start with your mother. She gave you a tremendous lesson in very tough love.
Yes, she
Could
did.
you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, my dear mom, my late mom, she passed away in February, so I'm still
sorry.
grieving her death.
Yes.
But she was such a pivotal part of my life, of course. But when I was 22, I believe it was, and I was living in my childhood home with my mom. I was raised as a single parent, and so she saw me getting comfortable in her home. I think that's what it was, and she told me. She said,
Getting a little too comfortable.
Yeah, too comfortable, right? I was ready to buy a new car. I was just kind of splurging on my money and just coming and going with my two children, of course. And she said, well, Wanda, in January, she said, you have 6 months before you have to move. And so, of course, I didn't pay any attention to that. And she gave me $1,000 seed money to get me started. And, of course, I blew that. And she didn't say a word. She watched me for 6 months. And the day before I was to move, she said, you know you're moving tomorrow. You laugh now, but that wasn't funny. And so I was quite devastated. But knowing my mom, I knew she was very serious. And so what I had done is I said, Mom, I don't have anywhere to go. And she said, well, you have to go. So the next morning I woke up with a lot of anxiety, trying to figure out where we were going to go. And it was really, I felt that it was going to be difficult to find one place for the three of us. And so I called family members to see if one would take the youngest one, which was Kevin, and Tony, the older, and I would take Kevin. And no one was there. And I called my former mother-in-law, and she said, well, just come. All three of you come with me. And so, of course, I was angry with my mom, and to be quite honest, I didn't talk to her for 30 days. I didn't even let her know where we was, because that was a get back, right? But what I didn't know is that she had gone to my son's daycare, and my oldest son at the time told her where we were. So, Grandma.
But here you were thinking like, oh, I'm going to get her. She knows exactly where you are.
And so for 30 days, I stayed with my in-laws at the time, and I saved my money. And they co-signed for my first apartment. And I was approved for the apartment. And out of nowhere, my uncle came up with a bed, a dresser, living room furniture. I don't even know how he knew. It was used, of course, but it was our first home. And when I had taken my sons there to show them their room, they were really excited that we had our own place. And that helped me to grow as a woman. And I realized the importance of being more focused on the impact that I would have in my children's lives versus being selfish like I was at my mom's house, thinking about myself.
So now looking back on what your mom, the lesson she showed you, what she did, may she rest in peace, do you get it? Does it make perfect sense?
It does. Because of that, I'm the woman that I am today. That's a part of my foundation. She pushed me out of the nest, so to speak, so that I could believe in myself as a woman. I didn't immediately. It took many, many years later. But because of that, I know that I could forge forward, because my only focus was just being a mother. I didn't have ambitions. I didn't have dreams. I followed the suit of my mom, and her primary focus was survival and how to care for her children and to provide for her children. But I didn't see her have dreams of her own. I didn't see ambition in her as a woman. I just saw it as a mother, and that's what I took on. And so when I had my children, I followed that same blueprint to focus on my children, but what I added to that is that I wanted them to dream. I wanted them to aspire. I wanted them to believe that they could accomplish anything that they wanted. And so I had to be somewhat different from my mom. Even though she gave me a great foundation as a mother, I had to add to that. And so what I didn't have growing up was a lot of structure with outside activities. And so I felt that would be a key, a way of me focusing on each child outside of the home so that they would feel valuable and that they would be around their peers and around adults who had shared values as me. And so that's why I use organized sports.
Wow. I mean, I had the support. I have the support of my husband, who is my life partner, and we had kids later. And I still found it very challenging to get the kids to any activities, to get anything, sort of where it needs to be. And here you are, a 21-year-old young woman with 2 sons,
yes,
a single mother, and you somehow knew and understood that you should be aspirational and that you should be allowing them or encouraging them to dream. How did you do that? Take your time. Take your time. Really. And while you're getting yourself together, I will say that I don't even bring homemade baked goods to any school event. I'm lucky if I get Costco, because
I didn't do that either.
I just can't get my act together.
Like, I'm not gonna bake cookies and drive.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. So
I'm like, I'm
not gonna do it all.
If I get them to the right doctor's appointment,
exactly.
It's a miracle. Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
And I get emotional when you ask that story, because I think about me as a young person. In retrospect, I had no dreams. I had no aspirations. It's not because I wouldn't have had them, but I think those are learned and taught behaviors. And all I saw was the struggle. And so I knew how to do that well. Like, I could maneuver.
Survive.
Right. And I can do that well. Even to this day, I can make things happen. But I wanted something different for my children. And I knew that there was a contrast between the two, and I had to figure it out. And so I used sports and I used a plan, and that was the difference.
So what was the plan?
The plan is we had to first have a plan. I knew I wanted my children to go to college. I didn't know how I was going to pay for it, but I knew if I put them in position to be successful to attend college, the opportunity would be there. And so education was very important to me. And so my children had to complete book reports every week. And as they got older, maybe once a month.
You mean for school or in addition?
In addition to
okay,
school.
I can barely get my kids to do what's required at school.
But I learned, what they didn't know is what I was doing is I was just reading the summary of the book. They didn't
Love
know.
it. Love
right?
it.
But
do they know now, by the way?
Of course they know now, right?
Yeah.
And so I used that because I wanted their education to be important to them, because if it was important to me, then they would pretty much believe that it was important. Our faith was really important. We had to have Bible study once a week.
On top of the book
every
reports?
week, yes. Early Saturday morning. Before practice,
Wow.
we had to have Bible study.
Wow.
They had to get good grades in school. One son was a little more rambunctious than the other, which it wasn't Kevin. Kevin was Kevin was the humble. He was my oldest son. He gave me a run for my money, as did I with my mom. So like I was with my mother. But so it was easy because they knew that I was the authority in the home, and what I said goes. I thought I was loving and kind and gentle, and we had birthday parties and we had great times, and I would bake muffins on Saturday mornings.
Oh, there you go.
I would do all those things. But they knew that I was tough because I wanted them to be men that I could be proud of, they could be proud of, and society could be proud of.
Okay, so you raised two remarkable men.
Yes.
And one of them went on to become a very well-known basketball player.
Yes.
And in fact, he won MVP.
Twice.
Okay, I'm not a sports person, but I'm going to take your word for it. And in 2014, he gave a speech when he became MVP.
Yes.
If you don't mind, let's all together take a look at what he
You want
said.
me to cry? Yeah.
You cry. I'll cry with you. If we could take a look.
The odds were stacked against us. Single parent with two boys by the time you were 21 years old. Everybody told us we weren't supposed to be here. We moved from apartment to apartment by ourselves. One of the best memories I had is when we moved into our first apartment. No bed, no furniture, and we just all sat in the living room and just hugged each other. Because that's what we thought we made it. And when something good happens to you, I don't know about you guys, but I tend to look back to what brought me here. And you wake me up in the middle of the night in the summer times, making me run up a hill, making me do push-ups, screaming at me from the sideline of my games at 8 or 9 years old. We wasn't supposed to be here. You made us believe. You kept us off the street. Put clothes on our backs, food on the table. When you didn't eat, you made sure we ate. You went to sleep hungry. You sacrificed for us. You the real MVP.
Thank you. Ah.
I can't even imagine. Can someone bring us a tissue for the real MVP, possibly? If anyone's there, it would be much appreciated. I don't have one. So what was that like?
Wow. Every time I hear it, I get so emotional because I remember our journey, and I knew he would mention me, but I didn't know it would be to that magnitude.
He was like all about you.
And I knew that he got it, like he understood why I was the type of mother that I was, why I pushed so hard, why I wouldn't allow them to quit or give up on anything. And so he got it. That it resonated with me. I was like, so now he understands his mama a little more. Yeah. And you know, as a mom, we want that because sometimes our kids think we're crazy, and there's no rhyme or
all
reason
day, every
as to
day,
why we do what we do.
Yes.
But at that moment, it just, I felt like he understood. Yeah.
More than understood. I think
like he just got it.
So deeply understood.
But they lose it too sometimes.
Oh,
so
okay.
Be clear, like it doesn't last forever.
Okay.
Like they go through stages, right? So that was the first stage.
It's good we have it on video.
Yes, right.
So we can keep watching
Exactly.
When they're fresh,
Exactly.
we keep going back to the tape.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So even raising these two remarkable men, bringing them up in our society and leading them to have productive lives of service. Even then, you still felt, we're talking a lot about purpose today, you still felt as if you hadn't quite yet found your purpose.
Exactly.
Tell us about that.
Let me tell you about this one, okay? So I had been my son had been Kevin Durant. He's been known globally, and so he's allowed me to be on that platform with him. And I knew that I was going to lead them through life. I was going to be at the helm. I was going to have one son in this hand and the other in this hand. They were going to pick up wives, and then they were going to have children, and I was going to lead the way. How foolish was I, right? So they decided, like, Mom, this is not going to happen. And so early on in Kevin's career, I worked with him with his off-the-court endeavors. And then after 5 years, he decided that, Mom, this is it. It's time for you to go. Right? And I was like...
So what does he say? He's like, Mom,
it's time for you to go.
Wow. Okay, just like that.
Well, he said it a little more eloquently, like, Mom, I want you to enjoy your life.
I love you, but it's time to go.
But he said, and I was like, oh, I am enjoying my life, son. I love you all so much. This is the ideal place for me to be working with you. So he and my oldest son looked at each other like, oh, she's never going to go. But they were adamant, and they stuck to their guns, and they told me a second time, and I had the same response. And the third time, I got it, like, they don't want me anymore. But prior to that, 6 months prior to that, I was sitting in my den with my sliding glass mirror doors, and something struck me that this wasn't enough. I had been traveling all over the world, well, not all over the world, but many places. And I had met celebrities and kind of hobnobbed with people that I wanted to meet in my earlier years, and I could have some of the things like these nice shoes that I wanted. But it wasn't enough. And then 6 months later, that happened. And I was confronted with Wanda as the woman. And that was difficult because I had to be the one behind me to run up the hill and not quit on myself like I had instructed my children. And so Wanda had to be the recipient of all the lessons that I had given my son. And it worked. Look at me.
Look at you. Look at you. Amazing.
Yes, yes.
And you know, I've understood that to really deeply get something, you have to teach it.
Yes.
You taught it to your sons.
Yes.
All for you to live it.
Exactly.
So tell us just a little bit about the philanthropy and the life of service that you have found.
And during that time, I realized that because I'm on this platform, there's a responsibility that I have accepted, and it's a life of service. And so I had to ask myself, how was I going to serve? And I said, I'm going to go back to the communities, the community in which I was reared in and my children were reared in, and see how I can help. And I partnered, later on, I partnered with my son's foundation, and we are the Durant Family Foundation, where we want to take a comprehensive approach to impact the lives of those in the communities and where we were reared. And so that's what I do. I work with single mothers, children, and families. We have Build a Court and They Will Play. We have College Track, which is a program in connection with Lorraine Jobs, which we take youth who's first-time college students and follows them for 10 years, help them through high school, through college, and starting off in their lives. We have new programming with the Real MVP Studios, the Saturday Academy, we do disaster relief, and then we have the AAU basketball team, and we're expanding that. And so that's how we feel we can have a comprehensive approach to impact the lives of the communities in which we come from.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will ask you, I'll finish by asking you, for all of the people who maybe have raised children or nieces or nephews or grandkids, but been a part of their lives, of children's lives, committed themselves, and then find themselves sort of searching, what's the advice you would give them in terms of finding their path and their purpose?
The advice I would give you is, do not turn away from that process, because you are worth it and you are the purpose. All the other stuff that you do is just what you do, but the purpose is for us to live our authentic lives without excuse. That's what I would tell them. Do not run from the process, because you're worth it.
Thank you so much. What an honor to be here with
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.